What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Auto Auction Rebuilds. Today, it's a big day. I've decided I'm going to sell my Tesla Model S Plaid. And you're honestly not going to believe my reasoning for it, especially since I just did a video where I told you guys this is my all-time favorite car ever. So how could I go from telling you that this is my most favorite car that I've ever owned? It is my go-to car almost every single day. And now we're selling it. Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I haven't been driving it nearly as much as I used to as of late. My fiance prefers riding in the truck. And when the bad weather hits, honestly, even though this is all-wheel drive and it does great in inclement weather, I still prefer the feeling of being in my truck, something much bigger, higher off the ground. You just feel safer, even though you're absolutely not. You'd be safer in this. The reason why is because the car is so heavy. The center of gravity is very low, and that battery weighs a ton, and it's literally sitting at the bottom of the car. This is a very stout and very safe all-wheel drive car. Unfortunately, I just haven't been driving it much lately. I found that it spends most of its time just sitting in the driveway, plugged in, charging constantly. Now, I bought this car with the intention of saving gas. That was the intent. And I'm going to be honest with you. It saves me a literal fortune in fuel cost. But there's a hidden cost to owning a Tesla that I should have known about, but I didn't. Unfortunately, all of my bills are on auto pay, so I don't really pay attention to how much everything costs. It just gets deducted automatically from the bank account, so I don't have to worry about it. Well, I was doing some checking. Obviously, it's about that tax time, right? And I'm looking through my bills, figuring out what I've paid for everything, and I found out that this car cost me $650 a month in insurance. I'm not kidding. $650 a month for full coverage insurance. I have a perfect driving history. I'm 45. I have no tickets, no accidents, nothing. $650. My insurance bill is around $850 a month for this car, my truck, the Mustang GT, my motorcycles. And I just got told that removing this car brings my premium down to $181 a month. Can you imagine that? $650-ish a month for insurance on a car. To put that into perspective, my car payment on this, and I've got a great interest rate. I put no money down. I bought it for like $56,000. I pay $1,050 a month for this car. So the payment alone is $1,050. And the insurance is around $650. That makes no sense. That is literally the payment on Jessica's Mustang GT. That's half of my mortgage for car insurance. Now, money's not an issue, but that got me thinking. Like, seriously, that got me thinking. I was like, okay, $650 a month. If you multiply that by 12 months, guys, that's like $7,200. It's over $7,000 a year for car insurance on one car. Oh, that doesn't make sense. So then I got a little OCD, and I started checking other things. And I was like, wait a minute, I have two motorcycles that I never ride. I keep forgetting about them. I forget they exist unless they get in my way and I have to move them. They never get ridden. In fact, I bought one of them brand new in 2022. It has 78 miles on it. Never ridden. I started checking that. It's like, how much am I even paying for these? Well, I'm paying $300 a month for one of them. I'm paying $350 a month for another. You see where we're going? Another $650 a month is going to motorcycles I don't ride. And that's just the payments. That doesn't include the insurance. So between two motorcycles and the car insurance to this car, you are looking at saving $14,000 a year in payments. But wait, there's more. If I sell this car, I save another $1,000 a month, which comes out to $12,000 a year on top of the $14,000 that we could save. Yeah, Think about that for a minute. $12,000 a year plus the $14,000. That's $26,000 a year. That poof literally blew my mind. That if I sell this car and sell 2 motorcycles and drop the insurance on everything, I'm going to be saving close to $30,000 a year. Mind blown. So I want to make sure everybody knows I'm not getting rid of the car because I don't like it. I'm not getting rid of the car because of anything the car's done. It's still, I consider it the best, by far, best car I've ever owned. But here's another thing. Like, I bought the car thinking, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to drive it a lot. And I did. I put 10,000-ish miles on it, guys. I put quite a bit of miles on this thing. But this was because gas is so expensive, I'm going to save money driving an electric car. Yeah, no, that logic doesn't work because as we just figured out, we are paying, what, $14,000 a year for this car between insurance and the car payment? Well, that doesn't make sense. I'm paying $14,000 a year. Actually, it's more than $14,000 a year. It's $20,000. I'm paying $20,000 a year to save gas. Have y'all run those numbers? Because for me, that doesn't make any damn sense. Okay, so the truth of the matter is, yes, I used saving gas kind of as an excuse to buy the car. It is one of the quickest cars in the world, top speed of 200 miles an hour, super interesting, and in my opinion, awesome. I love the yoke. I didn't like it at first, but I absolutely love it. It's such a unique car, packed full of features. I love it. It does 200 miles an hour top speed, 0 to 60 in 1.99 seconds. It's a phenomenal car, but the more it sits and the less I use it, the more I'm starting to realize, man, this thing is honestly costing me a ton of money, and it's not doing me really any good. Now, real quick, we are about to hit 500,000 subscribers, guys. We are at 499,500 subscribers. And here's something that occurred to me the other day. And I've got this Mustang, the blue supercharged Mustang. I've also got the new to me 66 Impala fake SS clone. I got to thinking about this and I was like, I already own those cars, right? Those are mine. I don't have to make payments on those, right? So since I rarely drive this and this car is always in my driveway taking up space, what if instead of just leaving this in the driveway plugged into the wall, I just drove a different car? I've got like 20 cars, guys. I could drive the 57 Chevy. I could drive it home and then I could take it back and I could grab the 66 Impala if I can ever get it to drive right. And I could drive it here and enjoy it and then take it back. And then maybe I could pick up the 94 Mustang GT, the supercharged stroker. Bring it up here. I've got such a selection of cars. I could be driving something different up here and back all the time. Things that I could actually really use, enjoy, have fun with, and I'm not making any payments on those at all. They're already paid for. So why am I sitting here with a Tesla that I don't use it enough to justify keeping it anymore when I've got all these cool cars that are literally sinking into the grass down at AAR HQ? And I guess part of it is bragging rights, right? I mean, there is something to having a car that beats everything on the road. And I know there's going to be the people in the comment section that say, like, it's a soulless car. That's fine. You can say that, like, some people think that I'm like an EV fanboy and I hate gas cars and I'm trying to save the planet. And I have to clarify this all the time. I don't care about saving emissions in the planet, and I don't subscribe to any of that bullshit. All right, I'm sorry. I don't care. The reason I bought this car is because it's a freaking Plaid, man. It literally, and I know there's people, it's not the fastest car in the world. It is not the fastest. It is, however, one of the quickest cars in the world, guys. Like, in the world, one of the quickest. And with a top speed of 200 miles an hour, I mean, like, really, Are we going to be going over 200 miles an hour on city streets? No. No, the fastest I've ever had this car up to was like 146 miles an hour. That's plenty. That's plenty fast. I don't need to go any faster than that. And I can tell you this, when you're on the highway and someone rolls up and they want to mess with you, it's literally just the push of a gas pedal. Oh, sorry, throttle. It's a push of the throttle, boom. And it's just like, get out of here. Get out of here. You ain't got nothing on this car, man. Unless you've got something absolutely crazy. And even then, you talk about Challenger, Hellcats, and Scat Packs. Come on, Mustangs, Cobras even. Hang it up. Forget about it. All right, just forget about it. You know why? I'm going to tell you the reason. Even if you've got 1,000 horsepower Challenger or Charger, let's say you've got like a Demon 170. All right, you're pushing over 1,000 horsepower. Guess what, guys? This car, this is 1,026 horsepower. But there's a catch. This car is all-wheel drive. The others are not. Forget the Cobras, forget Scat Packs and Mustang GTs, forget Hellcats and Demons. Hang it up, because you will not get the traction that this car gets. This car is going to leave you in the dust. Now, with that said, you guys know I love my fast cars. I love muscle cars. I love gas cars. I love diesels. I love basically anything with wheels. I love cars. So I'm not here saying my EV is better. That's not what it's about. It's simply a fact that unless you're in, what is that other EV? The Lucid Air Pure or Lucid Air. Damn it, I can't remember the name, but there's a Lucid that beats the Tesla. Unless you're in that, it's not going to happen, guys. It's just not going to happen. I have never run across anything since driving this car. I've never raced anything that I didn't beat, period. And I mean, not like, oh, that was close. I'm talking like embarrassing, like really, really embarrassing. So in a way, the Tesla Plaid is kind of a one-trick pony, and I hate calling it that, but it really is. It will beat anything on the road, including a lot of motorcycles. I mean, this car is just, it's crazy. But that's it. I mean, great, you can race people and beat everybody, but what I found is over time, less and less people are out there trying to race. It was a lot more fun when people would routinely like come up on me and try to mess with it. That was great, but it's getting to the point where people just don't do it anymore. I think unfortunately, too many people have been eaten by EVs, and the gas people now realize, all right, I need to stay in my lane and not mess with these EVs. And again, I'm not trolling on the gasoline cars, because I've got 20 gas cars. I got tons of V8s, gas burning, tire smoking V8s. All right. I mean, I love my V8s. I love my old cars. All right. So again, I'm not here to be like Tesla's better than, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's hard to beat a car like this, especially when, and Hoovies Garage said this, and I wish he would have got his facts straight before making the video. I love Hoovies Garage, by the way. I watch most of his videos, especially when they involve a Tesla. But he recently got a Plaid, and he was telling the Wizard that it peters out around 80 miles an hour.
Oh, gosh. It's like a roller coaster ride.
It's borderline painful.
I can honestly say, out of all the cars you've ever owned, none of them, even the McLaren MP412C, none of them could do this.
No. And of course, it kind of peters out at 80, 90 miles an hour, and then the normal supercars would catch up to it.
Right.
But yeah, nothing launches like that. It was the fastest accelerating car in the world for a while.
That is crazy. There's no Hellcat on Earth or Demon or anything doing that.
No.
And that's not true, which tells me that he doesn't know what he's talking about when he started talking about the Plaid. Back in the day, back in the old days of the Tesla Model S, yes, as you got up there in speed, the horsepower and torque just kind of dropped drastically. So yeah, around 80, 90 miles an hour, you'd start seeing a noticeable degradation in speed and power. That is not the case anymore, okay? Car and Driver reported on this. Tesla themselves reported on this. Tesla has stated This car with its tri-motors, all-wheel drive, will maintain 1,000 horsepower of its 1,026 horsepower all the way through the power band up to its maximum speed of 200 miles an hour. A gasoline car can't do that. It can. There's a torque curve on gasoline engines. Okay, you know, they start out with kind of low power, then as you get up into the RPM range, it peaks. But then once you hit that peak, you know, 5,000, 5,500, 6,500 RPM. Once you hit that, then the power curve drops down again. There is a curve to gasoline cars, and you're not even taking into account the fact that these cars, whether they're manuals or automatic, have to be shifted through gears. Even the fastest transmissions, and I'm going to tell you right now that what is it, the 10RE, 1080 RE, whatever it is, that new Ford GM collaboration, the 10-speed that my fiance's Mustang GT has, phenomenal. It takes a 450, 460 horsepower car and launches it to 0 to 60 in like 4 seconds. That's incredible. The 10-speed transmissions are super fast, but the Tesla doesn't ever shift. There is no, even a slight delay shifting through 10 different gears. It adds up. All right? This car never shifts. You hit the throttle, whoosh, and you're gone. There's no torque curve. You don't lose it. It doesn't peter out. Come on, Hoovie. It helps if you do a little more research and actually know what you're talking about. And you can tell he obviously didn't take the car over 80, 90 miles an hour, because if he had floored it, he would have seen this car at 145. It doesn't matter. You're pinned to the seat. All right, because I've done it. I've been there. It will lay you in your seat until you let off that throttle. It's an incredible car. Can you tell? I'm passionate about it. I absolutely love it. But unfortunately, I think the newness of it, the excitement of it, it's just worn off, which is truly sad, man. It really is sad. The car's got so many features, and it's just so much fun to drive. But like I said, it was kind of, it's turned into a novelty for me. It was so much fun when I first got it, and it's still fun to go fast. You know, you hit the throttle and it puts you in your seat, and even though people say that the car handles like crap, it handles really well. I don't care what other reviewers say. This car handles phenomenal considering its size. This is a big car, but it's also wide, which really helps it in the handling department. All-wheel drive, again, really helps in the handling department. I love this car. I just can't justify spending all of this money on a car that basically spends the majority of its time sitting in the driveway. Same thing with the motorcycles. I've got other cars that I would love to drive, bring home and enjoy, and get them out of the, basically sinking into the ground out at AAR headquarters. It makes more sense to me to basically take the money that I'm spending. God, can you imagine? If I get rid of this car and my two bikes, we're talking, what, 30 grand a year? 30 grand a year that I could be spending on some of these other cars? I don't know, guys. You tell me what you think, but personally, I would rather be playing with all my other toys than spending 30 grand a year on this car and two motorcycles that I just don't use anymore. Listen, Hoovies Garage, get it together, man. God dang. Talking about these cars peter out at 80. I was losing it. Listen, I was like, what are you talking about, man? What is it? Hold on. What does that say? Our EV Cadillac Lyric bricked itself? April's Garage. Oh, no. Well, I'm glad I haven't bought one. I'm going to have to watch that video. And then over here, Monkey Wrench Mike, what are you doing? What? Dino. Come on. Monkey Wrench Mike, you are crazy, man. Okay. See what I mean? I love the tech in this car. Anyway, to the meat and potatoes of the video, I sold this car to Carvana. And this blew me away. They're actually coming to pick it up in just a few hours. And I'm kind of sad to see it go, because I really do. I can't say enough good things about it. I had a few problems with it when I first got it, but I took it into service. Service took care of everything. They paid for everything. Like, they covered everything, even putting brand new tires on it. They took care of everything. And since then, I've had zero issues with this car. And it doesn't require services. You don't have to go in for oil changes. And I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but when you drive as many miles as I do, guys, I drive well over 40,000 miles a year. every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, I got to get my oil changed. And for people that, you know, don't drive as much, that's not a big deal. But for me, where it's like it's 20 miles to the dealership from here, okay? I got to drive 20 miles, then I got to sit there for an hour or two waiting on an oil change. You know what I mean? An oil change, an hour or two. It's like they're always busy. And then I got to drive 20 miles back. And you got to do this constantly because of how many miles I drive. It gets frustrating. And then you've got the other services. You know, you've got to do your tire rotations. Guess what? This car doesn't do tire rotations because the tires are staggered. No rotations. You've got no oil changes, no transmission fluid changes, no coolant flushes, like all the rigmarole you got to go through with regular cars. You just don't have any of that with this one. Every year or so, get an alignment done. Change your air filter every 3 years. That's it. No air filter for the engine, just the cabin air filter, which all new cars have those anyway. It's truly a wonderful experience owning this car because you get to basically drive it and you don't do any maintenance. It saves you the money. It saves you the time. Charging, regular cars, I'm always stopping at the gas station to put gas in them. I don't have to charge this car at a supercharger. I charge this car at my house. I charge this car at either one of my properties here in Oklahoma. I have chargers on location, so I can just plug them in and forget about them. I don't have to drive to a supercharger to charge, and the amount it costs to charge this car up from 0 to almost 400 miles is around $13. $13 to get 400 miles out of this car. Everything about it is amazing, but there's a hefty price to pay, and that is in the insurance. The insurance on Teslas is incredibly high. I didn't even realize how high it was until today. So it's definitely something to look out for. And I reached out to Tesla to see what they would offer me. Tesla offered me $40,000 for this car. 40. And I was like, you're out of your mind. Then I went to that Kelley Blue Book cash offer. They offered me like 43-ish, somewhere around 43,000 for it. No. Then I went to Carvana. And Carvana offered me $55,000. In other words, I got all of my money back from purchasing this car. Plus, I got to drive it for many, many months. I don't know, 5-6 months. Plus, I put 10,000 miles on this car for practically free. Well, not free if you count the car insurance, but either way, I think it was a great offer from Carvana, and I jumped on it. I've already signed the paperwork and everything. We are done. As soon as they show up and pick up the car, I'm done with it. And then next, I'm going to take my motorcycles to Harley-Davidson. I'm going to see what they offer me for them, and as long as it's a fair price, I'm going to go ahead and just let both of my motorcycles go as well. Again, we're going to save money on the bikes, but mainly I'm going to free up some space. The bikes, they're not really that much, but the space they take up is considerable. I find myself like stepping over them, having to move them around from time to time to get to things. It's frustrating to have them in the way, knowing I don't ride them. And even though I intend to ride them, I just don't have the time. I never have the time. So it's time to start unloading some of the stuff that we don't use. And it's also about time to start unloading several of the cars down at AR headquarters. I'm gonna have to get down there and get a lot of work finished up, wrapped up on those cars, because it is tax time. People's gonna start getting their money in, and I need to unload a lot of these vehicles. So if you're thinking about buying a Tesla, whether it's a Plaid or not, it's important to remember the cost of insurance. You need to check with your insurance provider before you go through with buying one of these, because I've got so many insurance policies through my provider. All right, they handle everything, all of my business insurance, like my housing insurance, like everything, cars, motorcycles, everything. I've got a lot of policies. So I typically just email them. I'm like, hey, here's a VIN number. Please add this to my policy with the same deductibles and limits and terms as my other ones. And they do it. And then it's just auto pay. So I never pay any attention to how much the insurance actually costs until today I just got blown away that I've been paying this much in car insurance. And when you do a little bit of research, you're going to find that this is a Tesla specific thing, because Tesla apparently really limits who they allow to do the work on their cars. They have, you got to buy your parts from them, and they got to be a certified shop, and it makes the cost of repairing these cars very, very high. So before you buy, check with your insurance company and definitely shop around to see if you can find any better rates. With that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button and let me know. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, stay safe out there, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon in the next one.